Both of us actually grew up as big Omen fans, and we both watched the movie, when we were quite young. And so I have a lot of nostalgia when it comes to that film. And I think just being an Omen fan myself, wondering, you always wonder, how did Damien come to be? Who gave birth to him? What happened there? And so the fact that this film answers those questions was just so exciting, just as a viewer for myself. And because it's just such a iconic franchise, and it was very humbling to be able to be part of that.
Making a horror film is it's an absurd thing to do, and there were moments where it was fantastically funny. Like we had some really funny, like there was this one moment where Bill Nighy's character is coming away from me, and I'm going into the darkness. But what really is happening is that Bill Nighy is on a little pulley device, and
Yeah.
he's being pulled silently away from me, and it was just the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. So it's like moments like that where you are like, what are we doing?
It's
Why have
madness.
we got Bill Nighy on a pulley device? And it's just, it can be fantastically funny. It really can. There obviously were pretty intense moments, like when I had the bag over my head or things like that were intense to shoot. But most of the time we had a pretty good time.
Yeah. And it's good. You have to kind of, I
You
think
need it.
in order to make a horror film, you have to really enjoy the people you're around and have a lot
Yeah.
of trust. And I
Yes.
think with that comes a lot of fun.
Love and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of giggling.
If you can't tell. I'm a bit cheeky. I don't actually prepare, which is maybe something I should do. But I like to come in, fresh. And Margaret was a brand new character in the franchise, and I wanted to find her with Kasha, and so much of her was on the page, but there was lots to discover. I mean, little elements of me kind of crept in,
Yeah.
and Margaret's clumsiness and her over gesticulation. Some of me crept into her, but yeah, I mean, I think I resonated with her so much, and this story, and it felt like it was going to be a fantastic challenge. And we're always looking for that, us masochists. So yeah, but really it was kind of I learned her as I went with Kasha.
I think everything for me is horror. I don't know if
I love horror.
so it is hard to I think my instincts just naturally gravitate towards towards making things dark, unfortunately for my mental health. And what's so fun is that like creating a horror film, you're really creating I think what's really important is grounding the story in reality. And then within that, creating this atmosphere, like the atmosphere is also going to be a character. And that was something that just I got to work on Channel Zero, which was a huge learning experience for me. And yeah, end of answer. You know what? This is probably it's interesting because it's a scene that doesn't necessarily move the plot forward in a pivotal way, but it's probably one of the more important scenes of the film, just because
Yeah.
I think it really encapsulates the thematics that were really important to us all and kind of the reason for making the film. And so especially, that one shot. So that it when and I work with a writing partner, so when my writing partner Tim Smith and I came on board, that was actually the first scene that we thought about, and that was the image that we pitched to the studio. And they were on board with it, which was magical and amazing. And then Nell, which it's really interesting, just getting down to the nitty gritty of how we shot it. That's obviously a prosthetic, and one of the members of our makeup effects team is the hand, and then you have Nell's side of everything, and Nell was not performing to anything. Like all of that is her on her own, not seeing those images, and you didn't see those images until
After.
way after, and so
But Kasha's very good at describing things. I have I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
like that.
I can make the whole.
Descriptions are even more are even more visceral. So I had a pretty good idea of what was coming.
good. And sound effects.
And sound effects.
Yeah.
was always there, somebody there looking after me. I mean, always Kasha, obviously, but you know, in front of the camera, Bill being in a scene, or Ralph, Sonia, Maria, it was like, because we all had such lovely relationships and such a closeness. I promise you, every single person, crew and cast, it was just the most incredible company. And so, you know, I'd be doing a taxing scene and having Bill there to comfort me, or Ralph there, you know, on camera. It was just a delight. It just meant that we could all push ourselves that much further because, you know, as well as always having Kasha there to catch us, we had each other too. So it was just a really lovely working environment. It really, really was.
It was like disturbingly lovely. Like, I know everybody says that, but it just really wasn't. And you guys made my job so easy. And there would just be like fun little moments where, I don't know, there's the scene where you and Bill are driving back from the airport, and there was some technical difficulty, and Nell and Bill were still in the car, and I was like, oh my gosh, they've been waiting in the car. They're probably really upset. And I like tuned into my earphones, and you guys were singing.
And we were singing.
You were singing a duet, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Me and Bill were partial to a duet.
Yes. I was like, oh no, they're fine.
We're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, well, you know, we should take this here because so I work with a creative partner, Tim, and he was watching Servant, and he saw Nell, and he goes, Margaret.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he like Margaret, you know, like a caveman. And I was like, and then I of course fell in love with you in that role, and then we had this magical Zoom where you do not have to read for us, but you were so kind and you did. And Nell performed one of the more emotionally taxing, intense scenes over Zoom for us. And it was so intense that I started crying.
I started crying too.
Yeah, it was amazing. You just knew you were so thoughtful and delightful, and there was just a lot of chemistry for me.
Me too. Did you feel it too?
I felt it. So.